Next, we induct Kenny Hart.
Kenny Hart won the first race he ever rode in, a match race in Aspermont, Texas in 1962. He was 14 years old. Pretty good start, and a telling one too. Kenny was raised on a cattle ranch near the West Texas town of Post. He says folks called him a kamikaze. He had no fear of horses and, quote, had my rear whipped a lot of times for doing things on horseback that I shouldn't have done. 5 years after that match race in Aspermont, Kenny joined the pari-mutuel ranks at Ruidoso Downs, where that summer he rode Miss High Bar in his first Rainbow Futurity, and Quincy Rocket the following year in his first All-American Futurity. Kenny's mounts would include world champions Miss Thermolark, Super Sound Charge, and Special Leader. The fastest horse he ever saw, he says, was Cahuilla Bar, the Palomino Express that was the 1968 and 70 world champion that Kenny rode to 6 of the gelding's 38 victories. But his all-time favorite was Champion Town Policy. The gelding was kidnapped after Kenny rode him to win 4 futurities and finish second in the 1977 All-American. But after the horse was recovered from a cornfield in Mexico, Kenny got back on Town Policy, who went on to earn $862,000 in his own Hall of Fame career. In '77, Kenny Hart became the first quarter-horse jockey to ride the earners of more than $1 million in a single season. In '81, he became the first to exceed $2 million in mount earnings, a feat he would then replicate every year through 1985, when he rode the earners of $2.6 million, another record, and was named AQHA Champion Jockey. Kenny attributes his success to advice from his father, who said, "No matter what you're going to do, be sure you're hooked up with the right people." Those people include American Quarter Horse Hall of Famers Blaine Schwanevelt, Jack Brooks, D. Wayne Lucas, Jerry Nicodemus, Danny Cardoza, and the late Scoop Vessels, each of whom Kenny rode for or against. A decade after his retirement, Kenny is the 4th all-time winningest quarter horse jockey and the 5th all-time money earner. Since 1970, when AQHA began keeping records on jockeys, Kenny's mounts earned $29 million, and that's just in official American quarter horse races, not counting any money earned on thoroughbreds or in match races. Kenny mounted up in official races 21,528 times. He brought back the winner in 3,200 of those, placed second in 2,900 and third in another 2,800. He finished in the money in 41% of his races. Kenny once told the American Quarter Horse Journal, "No one ever thought I'd grow up to be any kind of horseman," something with which the American Quarter Horse Hall of Fame politely disagrees. Kenny says, "I know I only weigh 115 pounds stripped, but if I put my mind to something, I'll figure out how to get it done." And that is what makes Kenny Hart some kind of horseman.
Please welcome 2012 Hall of Fame inductee, Mr. Kenny Hart.
I'm going to do like that lady that started.
You go for it. I feel your pain, Kenny. I feel your pain. There you go.
Well, they don't make us all real tall. I would like to thank the Hall of Fame committee and all the people and through the years that have helped me achieve my achievements. It seemed like it's been a long old road, but it's been worth it. And I would like to introduce some of the people at my table. My brother Jay and Linda Hart. My wife Shirley. My son and his wife, Jason and Kelly Hart. And the next table back, 9, I've been very fortunate in my career. I've made a lot of friends, and through the friends, we've made a lot of money. But first of all, I'd like to, I'd like to introduce 3 ex-jockeys. John Banks, that works for the Jockey Guild, which I do believe in. Stand up, John. Okay. The Hall of Famer, Jerry Nicodemus, which is a great friend of mine. Stand up. Jerry Burgess. Okay, and then a trainer, Mike Robbins and Vicky. Now this next one I'm going to introduce to you. Russell Harris and his son Marshall. But everybody knows that I rode for Blaine Swanevelt, the legend. Anybody could have rode for Blaine. All you had to do was hang on. But Russell Harris and I, we go way back before that. In '75, I was second leading rider at Los Alamitos. And I'd went out there in '69. But I was riding for Russell Harris, Bill, and Richard MacArthur. And we ended up second that year. We come back the next year in '76, and I hadn't even got to ride for Blaine yet. We ended up being leading rider, and that was my stables, was Russell, Bill MacArthur, and Richard MacArthur. But then in '77, it come up, and I was asked, and I went to riding for Blaine. I rode for Blaine for 10 years. And it was the 10 great years. I rode a lot of world champions for Blaine. But just like Russell, I win a lot of races and stake races and stuff. Tell the Mayor Florentine, I met Blushing Bugs, and I can't even remember them all. You know, I mean, I just think the world of Russell. And when I first went out there, I went out there with 2 guys, Sonny Fields and Larry Sharp. But when I got out there, my dad told me to always keep my nose clean and keep myself tied up with good people. Well, I get to talking around and stuff, and I found out there was a guy there named Gene Chambliss that had been the leading trainer of the nation. I worked myself right in there. You know, which another friend of mine that's not here, Bobby Adair, wanted me to I talked to him here a while back. He said, well, you be sure and tell him at the AQHA what you did to me. I said, Bobby, what's that? He said, I was riding for Gene Chambliss. And you come in and went to dating his daughter and married her, and then you rode for him. But Bobby's still my friend. And then Danny Cardoza. I mean, I've been very fortunate. I've always, my friendship with the other jockeys and stuff, and I will add, that was the greatest jockey era ever. I mean, nobody wanted to see anything happen to a rider, but if something happened to me, any owner, any trainer could walk back in that jock's room and get another rider just as equal, if not better than I were. But we were all friends, too. If something happened and a rider couldn't be there in the morning, we'd look up and we'd see a stable coming. They'd be leading a horse up to lope or whatever. We'd get off ours when we get done with it, and we'd lope theirs. It was just like a big brothership. You know, everybody wanted to win, but if you didn't win, you were tickled for the other guy. And there was so many trainers, just like Dwayne Lucas is here. I rode for Dwayne, and like they were talking about, Jack Brooks, Sleepy Gilbert, all of them. I could go on and on. It's a who's who. I've been very fortunate, and I'm tickled to death that you people have voted me in, but anybody could have done it if they'd have been tied up with the right people. Thank you.
Congratulations, Kenny. Congratulations, sir. And I do believe there was a little more to all those wins than just hanging on. I would bet my money on that.